Welcome, welcome. We're here once again. This time we are here to talk to Doug Drexler, which you will see shortly. Uh, we just had an amazing opportunity to talk to Doug and get to listen to his insights and the vast amount of knowledge that he has. But today we've got Melissa and we've got Jenny who are here, and I don't know, hopefully they had as much fun talking to Doug as I did.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
yes. He's so much fun and
Mhm.
a fountain of knowledge.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, without further ado, here is Mr. Doug Drexler.
I forgot what we were talking about
You
now.
were just
The cook.
saying that Enterprise was the only show that featured like that actually featured food.
They wanted to get away from plot exposition in the turbo lift, which is what
Mhm.
it's almost always used for. This is where we talk about what you guys didn't see.
Yeah.
Um, so they decided they wanted to do kind of like what they used to do on Bonanza, that Western from the 60s.
Mhm.
No one remembers anymore, but was the biggest show in the United States at the time
Was it?
and ran for like 20 years. It was the
Wow.
biggest show, and now it's like totally forgotten. And the show that was laughed at, Star Trek, is still like going. Sometimes
Hmm.
I'm imagining this
It's
because how is this? No one. The show is a very small group, militant fans, and
Hmm.
was not popular and not science fiction and comic books and stuff like that were thought of as brain damage stuff.
Hmm.
You're reading that as an adult.
Yeah.
Um, but where was I
The
going?
food. The
The food, the
food.
food.
That's the thing about me. I'll spin off in a whole bunch of
I
different.
love it.
You know, so the thing was that they decided they were going to have food, and we had this prop guy, Craig Binkley, that we called Bink. He was really a wonderful, sweet guy, and he was bringing in food stylists, and something about I saw he was having a lot of trouble, and
Mm.
and I knew that Dorothy was an amazing cook, and she really loved doing it. And she would have dinner parties here with like 10 people, and but I figured I would wait until he was really desperate before I would recommend it. He was lamenting to me, about, gee, Dougie, I just don't know. The, there's food stylists, but none of them seem to understand the concept of being on time, doing what you asked, you
Hmm.
and they're killing me. And I said, well, Binky boy, have I got the girl for you? And I said, okay, first let me say blood is thicker than water. Dorothy would rather die than let me down.
Mm.
Even if it wasn't me here, she'd rather die than let anybody down when she's on a job. So he brought her in, and they just got along. They called each other Fred and Ethel,
That's awesome.
oh,
and they just loved each other. It was,
Hmm.
and everyone on stage ended up loving her too. Um, and she used to make. I have a little piece of blooper that I saved where they're in the mess hall, and uh, oh God, what's the character's name? Mayweather.
Hmm.
Oh, you, yeah, it was Dominic Keating's character,
Dominic Keating. And
Reed.
yes, and Dominic, loved to eat. Who doesn't anyway? And
Hmm.
there's a scene where Mayweather is going on about something, and Dominic is eating, 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 and catches, somebody else's eye and points at the food like this. When it comes to his line, he totally doesn't even pay any attention. The line is coming, and well, what's Mayweather's name? Anthony Montgomery.
Hmm.
Montgomery jumps up and goes, "You are an idiot! You are." He hasn't stopped eating, and you could hear the suction of the food as he'd be eating. And the trouble was is that he would plow through his plate of food, and they would have to get the whole plate for a take two.
right.
Finally, Charlie Russo, who was the prop guy, and he was a character boy. He told Dorothy, he says, "Look, from now on, make him a plate of food while he's still in his trailer and feed him and get him full." Trailer. And she would bring him, the food in his trailer.
That's
He
amazing.
got on stage, he was already,
Mhm.
Fat and sassy.
That's amazing.
but so she had a lot of recipes, and now I remember what I was actually getting at about the book, that most cookbooks are bullshit on Star Trek. They just make, but this is really a book about food and how you make a TV show. Because
Mhm.
the stories that go with everything. Dorothy wrote stories.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would be very unique. It would be a unique, a real honest to goodness cookbook that goes into food styling and, you know,
Hmm.
so she was chef.
I
Yeah,
love that.
well, I can
Nice.
attest that Dorothy's food is no joke. It
Yeah,
is
Mhm.
you're amazing.
amazing. I mean, even, well, Doug, you had me over not long after Dorothy passed, and you made her lasagna recipe, and it
Yeah.
was
Mm.
so
Well,
good.
that's the amazing thing. I like one day realized that I could conjure Dorothy by making, one of her dishes,
Mm.
which I've
Aw.
done. I've done 3 or 4 times, three or
That's
four
lovely.
recipes. I
Hmm.
need to branch
Mm.
out and do some other stuff because man, I miss her. She made the most amazing meatballs.
Oh.
Well, they were huge. But uh, yeah, I mean, she would have a dinner party and it would be a Moroccan feast. Everyone would sit
Wow.
over, and she really
Oh
she
man.
it's in your DNA, and
Hmm.
either you love to do that or you see it as a chore.
Hmm.
Mm.
Dorothy never saw it as a chore. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, she would send in all kinds of stuff when we were doing Galactica, right, Matt?
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, there were sometimes
Oh, cool.
through the night, and she'd show up with a picnic for everybody, bottles of wine, food,
Wow.
she was unbelievable.
That's very, very cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
and Doug would
So
come in
cool.
with like, "Hey, Dorothy made these cookies last night." And you'd hear everybody go, "Oh, come on, I'm trying to diet."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got pictures of you stuffing a box of donuts in your mouth, a whole
Mhm.
box.
So bad.
I said, I want to see how many donuts you. I've got those pictures.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It's so
Yeah.
bad. I
Well,
That's
know.
amazing.
Yum.
and I would post these, but I don't think anyone else would care.
We would love to just watch that Deep Space Nine video that you have of the promenade and just hear some of your thoughts. I mean, you lived it. You were there.
Hmm.
That was your
Yeah.
playground.
Yeah, TNG was my playground though too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I to this day, one of my favorite stories, speaking of TNG, is the story when you met with Mike to talk about going from makeup to the art department. And I I don't know. That's always one of my favorite experiences that you had.
Yeah, well, I'd see him on the stage occasionally, and of course, I think the art department was where I really wanted to be, even though I
Hmm.
found great success with makeup. But we had just done Dick Tracy, and now I was working at Star Trek, and I felt like this is probably the wrap for me because what else is there? I mean, um, I don't want to be a makeup artist my whole life. I
Hmm.
know so many people who've been makeup artists for 43 years, and it's like, wasn't there anything else out there that interested you, especially working in this business? You mean you
Mm.
didn't look over at the art department and go, wow, that's really cool. Or look over at wardrobe and say, gee, I could do wardrobe design. That'd be really awesome. Uh,
Mm.
that's the way I always was. I lo- there, there was so much connected to it that I enjoyed. I felt like I'd done enough makeup for me.
Hmm.
There were so many other cool things. And I would run into Mike. I knew who he was before I got there. And then eventually went up to the art department and met everybody up there. When I met Rick Sternbach. Um, actually, you know, met him.
Hmm.
And of course, I'd see Rick every day after that for years and years. But um, I really wanted to go in the art department, and being a makeup artist means you got a lot of spare time on stage. When you're setting up a shot, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're
Right.
putting on another prosthetic makeup or something. So I spent a lot of time exploring the Enterprise, you know,
Cool.
between walls and stuff. Looking,
Yeah.
yeah, looking. The first time I was in engineering, like in that little section that was Geordie's office.
Mhm.
And the monitors, and they weren't monitors, were running warp fields or like doing this. And it was all a gag called polo motion, where Mike would make a film negative.
Mhm.
That was the white areas were clear and the dark areas were opaque black. And then he would go behind them and put different gels, spray glue gels that were used to put in front of a light.
Right.
Someone wanted an amber light across the wall. You don't get a light that's that color. You put a gel over the front to make it that
Mhm.
color. And so he would cut out pieces of gels the shape of the Enterprise and put this material called Polar Motion on the back. And it's kind of a diffuse plastic material that you peel the back off and it sticks, and it has an embedded pattern in it.
Oh.
You can get different patterns. They're invisible to the naked eye. And so you can get a pattern where, well, there's another element to this. You've got the sheets that are the patterns, and then over here you've got a wheel with polarized material on it that turns with a light shining through it.
Mhm.
When that light goes through that wheel and hits the polarized material on the graphic, all of a sudden you could see, like waves running across like an impulse, like
Right.
drive doing this.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
before that, you used to see that stuff like in a bar.
Mhm.
There'd be a clock on the wall with a picture of a waterfall, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's polarized material with a wheel behind it that
Mhm.
Mike had the brilliant idea of animating using that stuff. And he actually hated it because he wanted monitors
Right.
and they couldn't afford it. And, making it work properly was also a problem. You have to sync the camera shutter,
Mhm.
monitor, otherwise you get rolling
Yeah.
bars.
Yeah.
Bob Justman was against it.
Mhm.
Mike came up with this brilliant idea to use polar motion. I loved polar motion.
It's
And he would look
incredible.
at me like I was crazy. But the thing, you could have a big, long plexi piece down the hall,
Mhm.
engineering, and show the entire flow of energy from the warp core to the warp engines across like 20 feet.
Yeah.
You couldn't, monitors were this big. It was,
Uh-huh.
even if you could get monitors, you really couldn't do that without butting them up against each other. And that would be,
Hmm.
Wow.
but polar motion had this distinct look where you knew it was a monitor because it was shaped like a monitor every time.
Mhm.
But with a polar motion, you could go around corners.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of
Yeah.
the looks of Next Generation. And when
Mhm.
Picard season 3 was done, they simulated the look of polar motion.
Isn't that crazy?
Mhm.
Well, it was just that everyone except Mike likes polar motion. Because
Yeah, right.
Mike, it was like him being told he couldn't do something.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when we finally got to Deep Space Nine, he got his wish to have monitors everywhere.
Mhm.
And frankly, they were shaped like monitors. You knew it was a monitor.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
he got to do all kinds of more interesting animations. And
Sure.
he didn't need to be on Next Generation. If you wanted to show something, a specialized that didn't just repeat a movement, you would have to do an animation that would be burned into the film. It would be
Right.
a post-production thing, which is
Wow.
more expensive.
Mhm.
So to have monitors on stage, he could have sophisticated things happening, and it wasn't a visual effect.
Mhm.
They sell that to the producers. You're not going to have to do burn-ins anymore, and it could happen right on stage in front of the actor. So that was
Mhm.
very attractive. But there were times on Deep Space Nine where I used polar motion because I loved the way it looked when I did something, and Mike would
Mhm.
just couldn't believe that I liked it so much. But I really did. It's very nostalgic even for me now. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I did when I was on the Orville. I didn't do the animations, but I did do a bunch of animations when I first got there and gave it to them
Mm.
to use. And they used them in engineering on the second level. And I made them look just like Polar Motion. And you don't really see them on the
That's
show
awesome.
very often, but
Mhm.
I have I but I do have videos of them, and it looks like, I've got energy flowing that looks just like it did on Next Generation. It's just like, I
That's
love
so
it.
cool. I love
Is
that.
that what we were originally
Mhm.
talking about? That I
Love
said it
the
was
creativity.
No, yeah,
No,
no.
that's
Well,
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Space Nine. Space Nine's a promenade.
Fun.
So, the one thing that I remember, and Denise remembers vividly,
Mhm.
before they actually started building, like the night before they go in and they tape out the positions of all the walls and the sets. So
Mm.
yeah. And Denise and I were walking through this big open sound stage. The big elephant doors are open on both ends of it. So there's a lot of light coming in.
Oh, cool.
And we're walking along. There's nothing in there at all except for a pigeon that's walking across the floor. How they walk, like their heads are connected to their
Yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
The head going like this. And Denise and I just looked at each other and said, "Remember this moment. Remember that pigeon." And I think I mentioned it to her like almost 30 years later. And I said, "Remember when we were walking across the stage?" She goes, "That pigeon." But the thing, real magicians, a lot of magicians work on a show like this.
Hmm.
Construction guys were amazing. I mean, you would go home and there'd be nothing there. And the next day, basic walls would be up. They'd work through the night.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was a makeup artist and I was there till 2 in the morning and I'd be leaving, they'd still be in the mill. And wardrobe was like that too.
Wow.
It was like,
Yeah.
think about it. You know how many shows these shows do now? They do
Mhm.
10 shows. And then
Yeah.
they do another one for 2 years. We used to
Isn't
do
that nuts?
episodes a year.
Hmm.
Right.
Take 3 months off and come back and do another 26 episodes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
These days are long gone.
Hmm.
yeah.
And it makes it hard for people to make a living.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're going to do 26 episodes a year, you're going to be all right. And on a show like Star Trek, where you're going to be back after 3 months.
Exactly.
I mean, when did we do season 3 of The Orville? How long?
Hmm.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
It's
a
terrible.
long time.
Yeah.
So it is true they're spending a little more money on these shows
Hmm.
because they're doing less of them. But
Yeah.
I would take less money per episode,
yeah, me too.
and if it
Same.
meant more episodes,
It
because
Mhm.
also meant we had to be a little more clever sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, for
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
there's something to be said for having a, a perimeter to work within creates a kind of cleverness to some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Mm,
Example is Mike using polo motion.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
gave the show uh, its kind of look, and you never felt like you were looking at a monitor when you watched
Hmm.
it. But you feel it on Enterprise. You'll feel it on Enterprise. You'll feel it on Deep Space Nine,
Hmm.
Voyager 2, because of the shape. You can't get away from it.
yeah.
Mm.
And Deep Space Nine once, I think we went to a Ferengi stock exchange. We were on Ferenginar,
Yeah.
and we put a bunch of monitors together so that we could have stuff coming in like ticker tape.
Oh, yeah.
And it really took the curse off it. It really worked out well. It worked really well. Um, but those were unique times. We'll never see that again, especially working
Mm.
on the Paramount lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you also knew that the stages we were working on had been Star Trek since Star Trek the Motion Picture, and Star
That's
Trek,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
cool.
and that every time they built a new ship, except for Enterprise, uh,
Hmm.
Motion Picture, um, and Next Generation, all those starship sets were built uh, using what had been there since the motion picture.
Hmm.
Made you feel like there was a certain thread, a
Yeah.
genetic DNA that ran through all the ships because the corridor was the same, but it was different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transporter room had, for all the shows, was the transporter room where it had been for Next Generation from motion picture.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Transporter, except they changed out that they redressed it and rebuilt it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
So
even as a viewer seeing through the years, seeing, the same props pop up in different
Yeah,
on different ships and different shows in different ways, the way that things got reused. Like there's something really
Yeah.
special about that.
yeah, because
Hmm.
It's a
practically
continuity.
you feel like
Hmm.
it's
There's a
part of the
continuity
family.
in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, one of the reasons people really love Star Trek that they don't have as much anymore is that we really stuck to the facts.
Hmm.
It happened this way on the original series. We didn't change it. And
Yeah.
uh, when we redid Kirk's Enterprise, and it's Pike's Enterprise too,
Yeah.
we didn't redesign it. We knew everyone wanted to see that ship,
Yeah.
not your
Right.
reinvention of it because you're such a genius and you're going to prove to everybody that you can do better than they did. That's what happens to these shows.
Mm.
Yeah.
When we did Tribbles, when we
Yeah.
did the Mirror Universe, you better believe it that if Bad Robot did it, they would have totally redesigned the bridge and told you that it was, Kirk's ship.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the shows. I've seen pictures of some of the stuff that's been done for design-wise,
Mm.
Strange New Worlds, and
Hmm.
it's great. Some guy
Great.
who says, I'm going to set up a meeting for you to talk to the production designer on Strange New Worlds. And I didn't really care to talk to him. I liked what he was doing, but
Mm.
he says, I'm sure he would hire you. And I'm thinking, I don't really care. But I cared even less when I talked to him.
Mm.
I had no idea who I was.
Mm.
Didn't know I was connected to the show in any way. And it's like there's a part of me that doesn't understand that because if I do something, if my if my assignment is to work on something that was done earlier and reinvent it a little bit,
Mm.
see what they did before, and get to understand it. But there are
Yeah.
production designers and it looks like this guy did to a certain extent. I could see the influence of the original
Mhm.
series,
Hmm. For sure.
although it looks way beyond, you know. Um, I don't know. I think that I understand wanting to put your spin on it.
Yeah.
It's like Star Trek. We always saw it as a historical drama.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, and I've said this so many times, if I'm doing a movie about Pearl Harbor, I don't give the Japanese F-15s because they look cool. You
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just face it, that's the way it was. It may have
Hmm.
looked to you,
Yeah.
but that's the way it was. And people who are really devoted to the show don't want to see it reinvented.
Hmm.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
New people who come along are like, oh, I don't care about that because they didn't grow up with it,
Right.
and they didn't study it. And there was a point where fans could count on facts being right.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Encyclopedia, they knew that we knew it better than they did, in a way,
Yep.
especially Mike and Denise. Grab that BD.
Awesome. Yeah, like, you're not on a set where you're looking up at the ceiling and just seeing like, light rigs and
Right.
it's not that, which is so cool.
There's one
Hmm.
of those monitors. Did you see
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It rolling in the
Yeah.
background there.
I was talking to Joe Hodges, who was a set designer in the first season of Deep Space Nine. And Ricardo Delgado was an illustrator. Ricardo's amazing.
Mm.
And every time Herman would ask Ricardo to design a set, Ricardo would design it and Herman would come back, he'd look at it, and he'd turn it upside down and go, we'll do it like this. And Ricardo was like I made that Drex Files bug so big because I thought it was only going to be seen at about 5 inches across. Now it's like, can I make it bigger? So Ricardo started showing his designs to Herman upside down to start off.
Amazing.
Herman would turn it right side up.
Well, you guys used to have to do that with the in the art department when you had designs that you liked, and the one that didn't you, I remember you telling me that if you had
Mhm.
a design that you guys liked, you would submit like five others that were really awful to make sure that they looked at the one that you liked and would choose that one.
Well, we always said, be sure to put something in there that they'll hate. Give them something to hate. If you go
That's
over
amazing.
one or two designs, you're in trouble.
Hmm.
Because they'll figure that it's so precious to you that they'll throw it
Ah.
out just because it's so precious.
Yeah.
You got to give them a bunch of designs. I remember the reason the Voyager has that elongated nose
Hmm.
is because that came from Ray Walston's spaceship from My Favorite Martian.
Oh, no way.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
this is
I love how
insane.
this, if you believe in life after life.
The Bajoran Temple.
Man,
Yes.
it's just so complete.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
amazing walking on because even out the windows,
Yeah.
we had our,
It's so great.
stars happening out there.
Right. And was that just like the big velvet
Yeah,
curtains? Like the yeah.
the beauty of that was
Mm.
because it would move a little bit, the stars would twinkle,
Yeah.
Mm.
And of course, we had that on TNG,
Hmm.
and it really looked good. It did. I
Yeah,
uh,
like it's such a simple practical effect, but it
yeah.
really translates.
Well, I think they
Yeah.
originally did that with the Mylar bits on the original Battlestar Galactica,
Oh.
Oh,
and it worked really well there.
Hmm. That's cool.
I love this.
There's the Rosetta Stone. They called it the Beatles.
So
I love this. Okay, the Promenade directory. I
Oh
always tell
yeah.
people it has Vince's gym on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince's
well,
gym. We had, Cavor's anti-gravity devices,
Yeah.
First Men in the Moon, and
I think there's like a Mystery Science Theater reference in there somewhere.
yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
robot.
Yeah.
Tom
Tom
Servo.
Servo's. Yeah.
Um, we had Poncho's Barnes Happy Bottom Riding Club.
Amazing.
Really great stuff, just full of jokes. We were allowed to make jokes.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to put jokes in the graphics on the Orville.
Really?
Got
oh,
down every time, every time.
wow.
I was told by Robert Strohmeyer, the art director, let the writers be funny.
Aw.
So, the thing is that the fans love the little jokes.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember that when they did an article on the sets of Next Generation, they had close-ups of some of the labels with the gags.
Oh yeah.
Gabe, you don't spit into the wind.
Hmm.
1,000 miles per second. It's not just a good idea, it's the law. I couldn't do that on the Orville, and it was a show that was, oh, look, we can read it almost.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I like the Andorian fast food.
Mhm.
Nine Propulsion, Buckaroo Banzai,
Amazing.
Jay Zimmerman,
Yeah.
Poncho's Happy Bottom Riding Club,
Oh my God.
Banzai Institute,
Mhm.
Dilithium Supply, Harry's Martial Arts Training,
Yeah.
Elf Lord
Jacob
Tailor Shop.
Jacobson's used photons.
Del Floria's Tailor Shop was from The Man from Uncle.
Oh my God.
That's where they used to go in to
Frederickson's
enter the secret
squid
headquarters.
vendor.
Mhm. Yeah, I just saw that one too.
Forbidden Project, Frederickson Squid Vendors.
Yes,
Amazing.
so funny.
Oh yeah, we were allowed to make jokes.
Mhm.
Um, you know,
That's great.
yeah.
So fun.
I
Unreal.
love
Oh,
that
amazing.
there's
Oh,
oh
yeah, now we
yeah.
can see. Cavor, yeah.
Yeah.
Bowling alley.
Uh-huh.
Shoot.
Diva droid. Diet Smith.
Amazing.
That's
Oh God.
So Tracy,
yeah, that's Dick Tracy.
The comic strip, Dick Tracy, not the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Ah,
that was another wonderful thing I was introduced to through the Drex Files was the Dick Tracy
yeah.
comics and Diet
I
And
Smith
the
and
love.
comics,
and Moon Maid and
it's obvious that
Mhm.
Warren never read the comics. The movie was nothing like the comics.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Makeup and
Wow.
art direction and wardrobe.
Yeah.
But Warren,
Oh.
to me, it was just like, well, Warren looked at the pictures. He never really read them because these stories were so bizarre. They were
Right.
the
strange.
whole Moon Maid story
Oh,
when
yeah,
they went
Julia
up there.
Tracy married a girl from the moon,
Yep.
Oh my God.
but they had diets. They had a guy like Tony Stark called Diet Smith.
Like I love the all of the different languages on the directory.
Oh
Like
yeah.
alien
I'll tell you
languages.
another story on the Orville.
Mhm.
I know who did it, and I said to him once, "Why would they do that? It's so dumb." And he did it. I was so embarrassed. All the alien languages, like Moclan,
Huh.
are this symbol is A, this symbol is B, this symbol is C. So that means that every time you've got Moclan on a chart,
Right.
it actually has to say something.
Right.
And now you've got to get that approved.
Oh
No,
my
that's not what
God.
it say at all. It would.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Mike always said that first, it doesn't make sense
Fun.
for A to be a specific, there's 26 letters. It doesn't make any sense. We just
Right.
made up symbols and never said what they were. And that
Mhm.
way we could do whole blocks of text and no one had to approve what they said. It was a pain. It was such a pain.
This is
Yeah,
so
because who can
cool.
read it anyway? I
Mhm.
Right.
mean,
Well, Doug, do you remember on when we were doing season two, they there were some in jokes that involved company names, and like I remember Mike asked me to redo one from Up the Long Ladder where it was like a list of all
Mm.
the corporations and stuff like that that were part of the one ship that landed on the colony, and I mean they had Star Wars in jokes. I had to change what was it, Alderaan to Aldebaran.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they had an AT&T reference in there. So it's like once you started being able to see this stuff on screen, it was like, oh, we're
It
maybe we
only
don't want to
got
make that joke.
worse. When I was on TED, it was every single thing had to be passed by legal.
God.
Oh wow.
wow.
Make sure that it isn't really the name of something here. And it
Right.
insane.
Oh, wow.
And also like even like fonts.
Mm.
Um, you are now only allowed to use fonts that are approved of and that they pay the rights to because people are so crazy
Oh my God.
like that. Don't bite. Come here. Come here. Here, look.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
sorry.
Baker.
Hi,
Oh
Noodle.
my gosh. He's beautiful.
He's so handsome.
Deranged.
It's a
In
fellow.
here. Don't chew on wires, please. Yeah,
No,
so
okay.
this set, I love bringing people on the promenade. It was James Bondian and scale.
Yes, yes. Like
Well,
the fact that number one that this video exists is crazy because uh, like you just don't have this. Like there isn't anything like this from TNG.
No, because no one really had,
Yeah,
there weren't good video cameras.
exactly. I
This
mean, the
was,
quality of this is incredible.
yeah, I mean, this was
mm,
a good camera for the day.
Hmm. But just, I mean, this is a treasure that you have here.
mhm.
Like,
The one of the Enterprise engineering, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yep.
no,
you've never seen
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh,
no.
Jenny,
Mm-mm.
I'll make sure to
I
send you the
cool,
link so
thank
you
you.
can
Yeah,
watch it.
please.
It's
We should play it now.
yeah.
Dabo.
And then Doug, you also did one of the Voyager Bridge, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all on my Vimeo page pretty much.
Because that's it. I mean, you see the shots obviously on the show you see, and you'll get background pictures and stuff like that. But to have a walkthrough like this where you're actually,
Yeah.
it's just
It's
so,
so real world.
yeah,
Like this could actually exist. I don't know. I feel
yes,
like I'm on Deep Space Nine and it
absolutely.
actually exists.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah,
not
you
even
like
bothered.
feel the station around it. It's not just like it
Right.
doesn't.
Well, and
Right.
the other thing is I'm not even bothered by the production equipment that's on there right now
No, God, no.
No.
because knowing
Mm-mm.
Deep Space Nine as we know it, you would half expect to see that stuff
See the
there
wall
anyway.
of stage there.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah. It feels like
cool.
people live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and of course there's trash cans. Why wouldn't there be trash cans?
Of course.
You know?
Yeah. I love
That's
that.
cool.
That's the bagel. See the stage wall there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, oh, it's gone now. Oh well. It was there. No, I think we're coming up on it. I don't know.
Mm.
Beaker.
The detail in everything.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, and the wonders of graphic tape.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well,
I wasn't allowed to use tape on Orville either.
Really?
oh,
Yeah, well, Robert Strohmeyer, he's a great guy.
Hmm.
I told him, I go, you could add thousands of dollars to a set with tape. No
Hmm.
tape. And he would never let me use tape. And then
Oh
one
my God.
we had these great new small craft. We had a shuttle and a fighter.
Hmm.
The fighter was made by a place that did custom cars, and they didn't know how to put plexi in. So when you turned on the light, there were light leaks all the way around the outside.
Oh my God.
Seth was coming down to see it, and I get a call from Robert, get down here and bring your tape. And I go through and tape all those edges. I got them done just in time. All these graphics had to have gels glued to them.
Hmm.
When we finally got to the point where we could just print it out, we could get really complicated.
Oh, right.
oh, cool.
Hmm.
See, monitor size. That's a
Yeah,
big deal.
Yeah.
that's
It kind
crazy.
of works with Cardassian architecture.
It does. Yeah. I love these.
Yeah. Your salt shaker.
Yeah.
Or whatever
It was
it was.
it was
The pepper
both. It was
grinder.
both. It was a pepper grinder, but there was a salt shaker built into the top too. Those
Oh.
white and black ones, Doug, those were actually like pepper mills.
Are they? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they were made by like Starfrit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Love
well,
that.
we had a scene in Deep Space Nine of San Francisco where it was all pepper mills and God, bird feed.
That's so awesome.
It's so awesome.
Bobby.
Uh,
We had Bobies on Next Gen.
Oh, right.
Right there.
Mhm.
so cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, I love it.
Hmm.
We put this
And
bird
you get
down.
the cute guy.
There's a bird on your arm.
Hmm.
This whole video's for the birds. No.
Bird. And
But yeah, there's something tangible in the creativity of creating the sets
Hmm.
back then. It's something that is real world and yeah, that you don't really get nowadays because it's all
Yeah.
let me show you this.
Okay.
Second. Share. Share.
Oh yeah, this is fantastic.
ooh.
Hmm.
There is something about being on the Paramount lot.
Oh,
Like the moment you
Mhm.
step on it, there's just this feeling of history of
His
just so
engineering,
many.
mhm.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, look how fun.
Wow, wow. Oh my God.
Ah, love that.
Oh, this is so cool.
Wow.
and I love this kind of stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but
Oh
knowing like
yeah,
all the time and effort and seeing people build this
Right,
absolutely.
stuff, and then when you see it on screen, like it makes me appreciate it even more.
Oh yeah.
right.
Like all these just crazy talented people
Mhm.
who put such hard work into making these things look as amazing as they did.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, look at that. Look at that.
It's so beautiful.
It's just bonkers. Man.
And you can hear it. You can
Mhm.
hear walking on the grates,
Oh
and you
yeah,
can
yeah.
hear
Mm. Yep.
the
Yeah.
humming of the engines. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And this is such a great set too, because it's, it's not this big, cushy, spacious. It's like,
right,
the engine's there, there's enough room to get around it, like, but it's
right.
not, yeah, like it's just,
And look at that,
yeah.
the
Oh
Look at
my
lights.
that. Oh.
God.
Oh, you can hear the lights
Yeah.
too. Oh,
Oh, that
it's
is so
so
cool.
beautiful. Oh,
Man.
I love that.
Hmm. Yeah, unreal. And just, ugh. So who would have been
Ah.
involved in designing that set?
Mm.
I
really John and Herman.
Okay, yeah. Hmm.
Although, you know, everyone walks by and puts in their 2 cents.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, of course, they want to know what Mike and I think about it too, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was on the ship. I was designing the exterior of the ship.
Exactly. Yeah.
John had done like 30 designs for the NX, and they were running them through the mill. They were all good designs. Uh,
Hmm.
but they had to move on to the sets. So that's when Herman brought me back. I was at
Right.
Foundation Imaging. Mike Okuda said, "Why don't you bring Doug back? He could bring the CG with him."
Ah,
And it's the first ship that was designed in the art department in CG.
right.
I could actually send over animations of flybys.
Yeah, that must have been a game changer.
Oh, absolutely. Let me see, where am I here? Um, 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 um,
I
um.
miss
Ah.
these the Drex files in action stuff that you
Mm.
God,
had.
see, there's the Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to hear that one. You want to hear it? Or do you want to hear it?
Oh
Maybe not. It's pretty bad.
my
Um,
The
oh, here, this is,
recording stopped
check
though.
this out.
God.
Oh,
This is the gal who's
Hmm.
in Hamilton.
This is Mandy Gonzalez. I currently play Angelica Schuyler in Hamilton on Broadway, and I am a breast cancer survivor. Your dear friend Doug Drexler contacted me to let me know that you were just diagnosed and that you were starting chemotherapy. And I'm sending you so much love and strength, and I want you to know that you will get through this. I want to remind you to keep the faith, to stay fearless, and to know that everything always turns around. And whenever you feel like things are too much, just breathe and woo, you got this. You can do it, Dorothy.
aw.
Yeah,
That's lovely.
Mhm.
start it over.
Mhm.
Let's see. Stop, share.
Misty in here.
I know,
I know.
right?
Jeez, some of that dust from the promenade.
I know.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Ooh,
There's a lot of sawdust.
I know. Ooh, still
Oh my
smoky.
gosh. Mhm.
Who's trying to call me?
Oh, well.
Luna.
Oh, is it Luna? Okay, well we'll let you go because
Mm.
we've had you now for almost 2 hours here, Doug. So I'm just gonna we'll do a little bit of a just a thing so when I edit this together it's for virtual TrekCon. So anyway, Doug, thank you so much for
Of course,
sharing
it's a pleasure.
and being here with us.
You
You
know,
know, you
people who have the same nuttiness about this can talk all day long.
It's
yeah.
true.
Well, and
Please.
you know when I say I mean we've talked about this before, but when I say I love you, you know, I mean it. And I
Aw.
am
Well, likewise. Thank you.
you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed. This is supposed to be where we're saying we're going out on a happy note. But
He's happy.
I do. I do. I appreciate you. You know, we've been friends now for golly, has it been almost 15 years?
And listen, you know,
Yeah.
when I was going through all that with Dorothy, you were
Mhm.
there for me whenever I needed you.
Aw.
Well, you know,
That kind of guy.
you know that you can always count on me no matter what. You know, I'm yeah, forever grateful to you and you know, you're my brother. So and for the rest of you, if you're watching Virtual TrekCon 6, make sure you have a box of tissues close by and
Yeah.
make sure to check the description below for the links to the next video. And we hope you've been having a great con so far. I know we have, and
Mhm.
we'll see you in the next video.